I've seen some portable sawmills offered for sale that were mounted on old travel trailer frames, but oddly enough, they hadn't cut them down at all. They just took the travel trailer off and put a sawmill on it, and some of them I've even seen some that still have the retractable steps along the side. I really don't think I want to have to climb up onto the trailer every time to manipulate the logs, set the log stops, and all that kind of stuff, and actually walk the sawmill carriage down the rails past the log.
Welcome to the PFO channel. I'm Jim. If you saw my previous video where I bought a portable sawmill online at an auction and then uncrated it here in the workshop, you might be wondering, well, why haven't I seen anything more of that? Have you put it together yet? Well, no, I haven't yet. And the reason is that I've been looking for a trailer to put it on. I had noticed that from time to time on the Facebook Marketplace, you would see somebody selling a trailer frame with the running gear that they had salvaged from an old travel trailer, tore it apart, and are trying to sell the frame. Well, I thought that would be the perfect thing for me to buy and cut it down, make it narrower, and mount my sawmill on it. So with that in mind, I've been hesitant to go ahead and put it together without a trailer here in the workshop to put it on, because I think it would be a lot easier to install it on the trailer right from the start rather than to put it together and then try to pick the whole thing up somehow and put it on the trailer. I think I'd end up having to disassemble most of it in order to do that. So I wanted to kill two birds with one stone and get the trailer first before I start putting the sawmill together. Well, I've been very patiently watching, and it's been almost a year that I've been watching Facebook Marketplace. A lot of the perfect trailers have showed up, but it's been while I've been out of state. Well, last night the perfect trailer again came up. The bed portion without the tongue is 20 feet, which is perfect for what I need because I've got the extension for the sawmill, so I can mill at least a 16-foot log. So I got up this morning, and after emptying the sap bags out in the sugar bush, I jumped in the truck and ran over there to look at it. The hubs are in good shape. The frame was nice and solid. It's an older model, like 60s or 70s, and I think it was just what I'm looking for. Hope they make it home. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks a lot, man. Yeah, the seller wouldn't come down on the price at all, but when I commented about the very sun-checked sidewalls on the trailer, he said he had a spare tire that he would throw in, and he says it's the original spare that came with that travel trailer. In fact, yeah, look at that. This is an unused spare. It's still got the nubbies. It's still got the sticker on the tread, and it is in remarkably good shape. Yeah, the white walls are a little bit checked, but that's mostly the paint layer that's checked on there. The rubber looks good. This is a general tire. 4-ply nylon cords. Oh, that's interesting. U.S. patent 292964083. I'm gonna have to look that one up. The patent in the 2 million series, that's getting pretty old. I know in the late 80s they were in the 6 million series, and I think now they just not too long ago crossed into the 12 million series. Yeah, I don't know. I used to pay a lot more attention to the patent stuff before I retired, but still find it really interesting. So I guess basically this is a brand new 50 to 60-year-old spare tire. That's pretty cool. Well, I'm glad to have it. One less thing to worry about on the trip home. So let's see if we can get this thing home uneventfully. Time, got the lock on there. I put a new safety chain on it, and I got my temporary lights. Well, it seems to be pulling pretty smoothly back there. It's not bouncing or swaying at all. Yeah, I'm just glad we're not in a blizzard like we were a couple weeks ago when we brought the Kubota home. That was a white knuckle trip. Okay, I'm a little ways down the road. I just want to check the temperature of these hubs. The frame is 64 and the hub is 67. 71 on that. Okay, the hubs are barely warmer. So those hubs aren't any warmer than the frame nearby, so they're not generating any heat. That's good.
All right. Well, we made it home without any issues at all. Let's have a closer look and talk about our plan. I only have a very rough idea of what I want to do with this thing. Well, the rough idea is I want to cut it down and make it into a sawmill trailer. But as far as an actual specific plan, I guess I must have enough of a vision in my head that I can look at a particular travel trailer frame and tell whether or not it's going to work for what I want to do with it. And this one certainly seems to fit. So this is unlike any other project I've ever done, but I'm sure I have the basic fabricating skills necessary to make it happen. And I am an engineer, so that's not going to hurt at all, I don't suppose. I think the first thing I'm going to do is take off all of these outriggers on both sides, everything outboard of the frame rails. And then I probably, well, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to take a chunk out of each of these cross members and bring it in to where this is the same 30.5 inches as the rails on the sawmill, or if I'll just mount the sawmill to the crossbars, because the sawmill, it doesn't sit on some continuous surface. It sits on 20 pads at 10 different intervals along the length of it. So if I mimic that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I've already got 13 cross members in here. They probably aren't ideally spaced, but if I were to add a few where I'd need them, I probably have all the rigidity I need to be able to run the sawmill without going to the trouble of narrowing this up. One of the reasons I was attracted to this particular frame is because of these rails being only at 4 feet. Most of them are wider than that. It's got trailer brakes on all 4 corners, and there's wires here, but I don't know if they work, and I'm not sure I care that they work. I don't think I'll be anywhere near heavy enough to need them. I guess it wouldn't hurt if they're on there to hook them up and have them help me on the stop. It saves wear and tear on the truck brakes, if nothing else. The other thing I may well do on this is take one of the axles off completely and just run it as a single axle. These are at least a 3,500 pound axle, and I'm sure that the weight of this trailer plus the sawmill is going to be under that, and it's not going to be going down the road with logs on the bed. So I think that this is going to end up being a single axle deal, and I've already got an idea in mind for that second axle if I do take that off. So that's one of my other motivations for wanting to take this down to a single axle configuration. I'll probably never get to the point where I can not stop and listen to a flock of Canada geese when they're flying over. Just something about that noise, just it's worth pausing for. Okay, I'm going to start cutting off these outriggers. Which of these 2 tools do you think will work the best? I got this reciprocating saw or this 4-inch grinder with a thin metal cutoff wheel on it. I'm going to go ahead and flip a coin to see which one I start with. But if you have an opinion, leave a comment below and let us know your vote on which one you would have started with. Or if there's some other tool that you think would be a perfect fit for this particular job. I'd like to hear your comments on that. Well, anyway, these are the cutting tools I have to work with, so I'm going to get started. So let me flip the coin. Well, it looks like I'm going to start with a grinder. Well, that's not very comfortable. Doing this with short sleeves probably wasn't the greatest idea. At least I got my safety goggles on. All right, these two outriggers right here are so close together that this literally won't even fit down in between them. Yeah, it looks like I started at the worst case condition for this grinder because it's just not going to finish the job. I've got at least one other tight spot like that across there, and it looks like one on each side at the back. So this grinder just isn't going to do the whole job. Oops. This cuts a lot better, but this blade is really too short. I can still only reach about halfway down because of the tight spacing on these things. Maybe if I take this one off first, and then I can reach the other one to finish cutting it off. See, that one's a box channel, but this is a C channel. It seems like it's kind of a mix and match as you go around the frame here. Well, it looks like that grinder can go back on the shelf for this project because that just wasn't even close. This saw zipped through there much easier than that grinder. The C channel cuts fine, but this blade is too short for these box beams. The tip of it keeps hitting the inside of the opposite wall. Okay, luckily I have a pack of 9-inch metal cutting blades for this thing. Those should do the trick. Yeah, call me chicken, but I don't like changing blades on this thing with it plugged in. Yeah, that did the trick. I'm not cutting it very close, but I can clean these up with my 4.5-inch grinder with a thicker wheel on it. Okay, either this blade is already seriously dull or, well, you know what I think's going on? I was trying to cut it closer to the main rail, and I think what I'm doing is I'm going right straight down the old weld, and that's way too hard for this blade. So I think I need to keep my cut line a little further from the main rail out into the soft metal alongside of the weld, and so that'll mean more cleaning up with my 4.5-inch grinder. In this fall. Oh man, I should have supported that piece before it fell off. It pinched the blade and tore it right off the saw. I'm going to save all these pieces. I'll probably reuse them as reinforcements somewhere or as gussets possibly. Well, that's looking more like a sawmill trailer all the time, isn't it? So these frame rails are 48 inches and the sawmill is just over 30 inches. So if I didn't want to take the time to make all these cuts and re-weld it with the rails at 30 inches, I could just center the sawmill between these, and that would leave a 9-inch overhang on both sides. How would that work? Would you suppose that'd be a problem? Yeah, ideally, I'd like to narrow it down so that the box beams are right directly underneath the sawmill rails. That would give me the maximum rigidity, and that would probably translate into straighter cuts and probably less waviness and less variation on the thickness of the boards coming off of it. You know what? I have an idea that would help me make this decision. Need one of these out here. Okay, this is where the log stops will be attached. And when I'm operating it from the side here, I'm going to be frequently leaning over to adjust the height of these log stops. Yeah, I think that's going to wear on my back. That's a long stretch to get over here and up. All right, well, let me move this over. Yeah, that's noticeably easier on my back. Okay, I think I need to go ahead and narrow up this trailer frame. Going to be a lot more cutting and welding, but I've done enough for today. Hey, go ahead and hit that like button. Thanks a lot for watching. PFO channel out.